Salut! And today we're covering the indicative mode, present tense in French, the present tense of the indicative mode. And do you want to know more about the present tense of the indicative mode in French? This is the question I'm asking you right now. Let's talk about it right now. I think it's important. Let's delve into the intricacies that students usually deal with. But is the present tense all that important, you might ask? And in that case, I'd say, yeah, of course, you bet it is. The present tense is used like all the time in French. Literally all the time. No pressure there. So here's what I suggest we do. We, the both of us, we pay close attention to the moderate amount of theory time. And we get it over with in like less than 10 minutes. And after that, you're free to go. Do whatever you want. Of course, I'm just asking you for your attention for 10 minutes so we can cover 10 minutes. That was a funny sound. So we can cover this lesson in less time necessary for it to get boring. Okay, sounds good. Let's start. As you can see on screen, we're going to cover, on the one hand, how to form the present tense of the indicative mode, and then its use, how to use it, in what context, in what situation warrants the use of the indicative mode present tense in French. Let's start with A, how to form it. How do we form the present tense of that mode? We're going to use the verb stem and add the ending. So it is a great idea when you run across a verb or a list of verbs, and when you stumble upon a verb, it's a great idea to ask, what is the stem? What the stem is. And in the case of verbs of group 1, it's very easy to know what the stem is. You just take out the two last letters of the verb, er. It gives you the stem. Easy as pie. Let's have a look at those endings. Parle, 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 parlons, parler, parle. And you probably hear that I'm not saying parle. I'm not saying tu parles, right? I'm not saying here parlons. This is wrong. Here, every time when you see that E at the end, E or ES or ENT, we're going to have an almost mute E. Je parle, tu parles, il parle. And this is a mistake I hear very often among students, so pay close attention to the way I'm pronouncing that verb. Je parle, tu parles, il parle. Not pronouncing the E out loud. That was for group 1. A lot of verbs in group 1. Now group 2. IR verbs. And watch it, some verbs of group 3 also have IR endings. But here we're talking about group 2. And I'm not saying that to be confusing, but it's just I'm trying to make sense of something that clearly is not easy to explain in French because we have a lot of exceptions in general in that language. But if you focus on the fact that IR verbs from group 2 have these endings, you'll be good. It'll be enough. Je finis, tu finis, il finit. Nous finissons, vous finissez, ils finissent. And again, I'm not pronouncing the ENT here. I'm not saying finissant. I'm not saying finisseux. Finissent. You probably start noticing a pattern here. We can see that there is an S every time we have the second person of the singular form. Parle, there is an S. Fini, there is an S. And here too, you will have an S. And here, we can see a T. And this is a pattern that you'll encounter more often than not. You'll see that the third person of the singular form and plural form end with a T. This was just on a side note. And finally, we have group 3. And a lot of group 3 verbs end with RE. That doesn't mean all of them. That means a lot. So it's good for now just to try to make sense of something that is, again, a bit confusing. But RE verbs. We're going to have vend for the verb to sell, vendre. And here we just removed the two last letters. Je vends, and we added an S for the two first persons. Je vends, tu vends, il vend. There we had nothing. It's just a stem here, And then we have nous vendons, vous vendez, ils vendent. And I'm not saying ils vendent, ils vendent. I'm saying ils vendent. It's almost mute again. Okay? That was the endings. Those were the endings of the present tense of the indicative mode in French. Now that we know these things, we can start playing a bit. Playing with its use. The use of this tense. First, A, we can have an action in progress. Je parle, I'm talking. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm not even kidding. Je parle, I'm talking. But you probably noticed that je parle is present tense, simple present. However, in English here, we have the present continuous. Not exactly the same. You know, I'm not writing I talk. And this is a difference between the French language, the English language. Watch out, because it's easy to make mistakes. Translating the simple present for the present tense of the French language of the indicative mode might be a mistake. You need to know that it is an action taking place right now, an action in progress. I'm talking. Je parle, I'm talking, and not I talk. I'm talking when it is an action in progress. Can also apply in the case of something just about to happen. Je lui téléphone ce soir. Try to repeat after me on that one. Téléphone. Great. Je lui téléphone. I'm calling him tonight. Je lui téléphone ce soir. Here we're using, again, simple present of the French language. Le présent de l'indicatif. And it also applies for habitual actions. And I know it comes out of the blue, but it's very important to know that when we reproduce the song of the black-headed girls every Sunday morning around a carpaccio of scallops whose emulsified shell juice would make one believe in God. Well, in French we would say on reproduit le chant des mouettrieuses chaque dimanche matin autour d'un carpaccio de Saint-Jacques dont le jus de coquillage émulsionné ferait croire en Dieu. On reproduit. We reproduce. It is an habitual action. This is a habit. You know, in that case, every Sunday morning, whoever wrote this, you know, with a beard, person with a beard, well, they have that habit of eating carpaccio of scallops, whose emulsified shell juice would make one believe in God. It is a habit. So if you say, you know, every Sunday I eat scallops, what would it be in French? Well, I don't know if you have the level to translate that yet, but it would be every Sunday I eat scallops. Chaque dimanche, ou alors tous les dimanches, je mange des coquilles Saint-Jacques ou des Saint-Jacques. And that means that we're using the present tense here. It is a habit. So very similar to English here. Another example, it would be universally admitted facts. And here was a mistake here. C, D, universally admitted facts. Le temps guérit toutes les blessures. It's universally admitted. Time heals all wounds. And it's kind of deep as well. Le temps guérit toutes les blessures. Well, we all have to die. You might say that some groups of people nowadays would disagree. Maybe we don't have to die. Transhumanism is really at its peak. It's never been that common to talk and have conversations about whether or not we can cure aging, which is extremely interesting, of course. But, well, it still applies in that case to use the present tense. Maybe it will change over time when we can, you know, so many people can cure aging in their bodies and live for very, very long periods of time, then maybe there will be a change in the grammar by then. But at the moment, the present tense is still used in that case. Then we have actions that began in the past, continue in the present, using a specific sentence pattern. So I'm going to help you out here. I got your back. I'm going to give you a specific sentence pattern with which we can use that example. She's been telling this nursery rhyme for days. Ça fait des jours qu'elle raconte cette comptine. And here, the tense is very different from French to English. You noticed, right? Elle raconte. She's been telling Here, not at all the same. But this sentence structure I told you about is ça fait des jours qu'elle. It's been days. And this sentence structure will allow you to just explain that something started in the past is still taking place in the present. And it is a bit more complex, but it is good to know that you can use the present tense in that situation, isn't it? So, have we got that straight? Have we got that straight? That in order to form the present tense of the indicative mode in French, we need to take the verb stem, meaning we remove the two last letters of the verb in a lot of situations, not all. Sorry about that. Group 3 verbs are more irregular, and sometimes it's not just doesn't work to take the two last letters and to add the ending. But in great deal of cases, it's going to work. So this is why we can use that to start learning the language effectively, efficiently. Je parle, tu parles, il parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle. And I warned you not to use parle and not to pronounce that last E out loud. It's supposed to be almost mute. Same applies here. It's not parlant, it's parle, right? It's pronounced exactly the same as in the first person of the singular part of the word, of the verb, of the person. And then we had the group 2 verbs, group 3 verbs, the different use, action in progress, I'm talking, je parle. Something just about to happen. Je lui téléphone ce soir. I'm calling him tonight. Habitual actions. We reproduce the song of the black-headed girls. On reproduit le chant des meurtrieuses. Universally admitted facts. Le temps guérit toutes les blessures. Time heals all wounds. And actions that begin in the past continue in the present using a specific sentence pattern. Ça fait des jours qu'elle raconte cette comptine. She's been telling this nursery rhyme for days. And my dear friend and learner of the French language, or already mastered the language, I have no idea. I think now is a good time to take on a short exercise, unless you're extremely talented at the language and that you learn absolutely nothing for the lesson, in which case I'm pretty sure you'll find other lessons on this channel that will hopefully teach you something. But if it's that case that you're not completely sure and 100% confident about the use of the present tense of the indicative mode in French, I suggest you click the link below the video right now and answer the question. There are a bunch of questions that will help you assess your level of understanding of that topic right now. I'm pretty sure you'll be glad you did. So good luck and let me know.